Hello YouTubers, here I am again. I've got my hammer ready to do the work I need to do. Well, here we go. Basically today what I'm doing is these old windows, or old style windows like these, would have transom bars going across. In this case, dividing the window into three. Well, traditionally the old fashioned way would be to have the transom bars as part of the construction of the window. Well, like a lot of windows these days, for cost as well as ease, and to maintain a single sealed unit within the frame, we put dummy ones in. Yes, it could be considered a lazy method, because otherwise it would entail obviously jointing and what have you but throughout the frame. But this really is a method that's widely used now in windows these days, and it's quite frankly it works. The only thing I would say is, though, I have seen a lot of transom bars just stuck on with silicone and they fall off. So a pair of time the water gets in, it freezes, it pushes the transom bar off the glass, and then you have windows with one transom bar or none. Well, it ain't kind of what we're after, is it? If we're going to make something, you want it to last, don't you really? You know, especially something that's going to take the elements. You know, these oak windows, you expect them to last test of time. You know, the frames themselves are all fully jointed and all held together with using cascabite glues, which is very good. And you know, why would you do something that lets the whole? You go to all the effort with the rest of it. Why let it down with transom bars that are going to fall off? Well, what's the point of that? You might as well just throw them away. Well, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we are going to set these transom bars into the rebate, or the flange of the rebate, and to do that, what we have to do really to make it look good, there's two ways of doing it. One is you can use your spindle moulder or router set to do what we did on the joints, to scribe or profile them over the moulding in this case, but that never looks very good. It looks like an afterthought. So what I'm going to do is, so it looks like part of the window, I'm going to mitre them into the windows, into the rebate. Only up to, in this case with this particular moulding, only into the actual strut flat of the moulding there, but there'll be a 45 degree outside. But how do you do that to the window? Right, because you've got nothing really to mark or to go by really. So what you do is you use a jig. Me and my jig. I love jigs, and they're so simple and so easy to make. We use this one. Now this jig here, as you can see there, it says 45, because they're 45 degrees, so the actual transom bar ends will fit into this 45 degrees. Now, the only thing I would say is, you say there's a left and a right. Now, you could say, oh, well then, why don't you just set them apart the correct distance for the width of that, so you haven't got to do any other kind of it. Well, I've tried that, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's not very reliable. So what I use is a marking gauge. This little device here, it's made of wood again. A little bit of white paint on the end, make it easy to see, and a little cut slot in there, which makes it easy to see it again. Now, I don't know if you can see that on there, but there's 4 marks on these windows. This is actually a chuck. This is a rejected window, so please excuse. There's a bit of splintering over there, but this is rejected anyway. But basically, what we have is this little marking gauge we made. It sits into the rebate, and that line then corresponds. You correspond that with the mark you made, or where the centre line of the transom bar is going to go. Do you know what? I need some different ears. My ears are blinking useless. I just had a pencil in and it fell out, and I do that, and there's another one on the floor, and then I stand on it, and I've got 2 pencils, or 3 in some cases, and they're not too short. They fall out my ears as well, so I can't win. So I should really make a habit of sticking up the side of my hat. Really, shouldn't I, like that? Well, that would work, but there you go. I forget. And where was I anyway? There we go. Marking gauge. To use the marking gauge, I could say I can't just use a pencil. Yep. That's the width of the transom bar. This is an offcut of the transom bar. That's fine, but the only problem with that idea is, I'll keep my hand in front of it so you can't see. I'm clever, aren't I? Is I could put a mark there and a mark there, where you've got to squint, you get your guide for your saw, and you've got to squint mark, line them up. And when the light isn't that brilliant, well, it's not very helpful. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the marking gauge. Instead of with a pencil, I'm going to use the chisel. Alright, so I line that up with my mark, like so. I just get my chisel and I just go nick there. Make sure that's lined up on that side because you quite a habit of moving again. And on that side. That effect what I did, I created a little notch over side. One there, yeah. And you can see that, and one there, okay. So when you run your blade across it, you can feel them, but don't only fall into the holes, you know, into the little slots you've made. So then what we use our another little jig, which is made up of a piece of frame section, yeah, and that sits into the rebate like so, right. And what we do is we then line that up on there, but I don't do it by eye. No, why would you? Dovetail saw, lovely little dovetail saw. This actually dovetail saw. This used to be my father's years and years ago. Beautiful little thing, and I recently sharpened it. Yes, I sharpened a dovetail saw. It is 18 TPI, so yes, it's not easy, but I did it instead of sending it to a saw doctor. So there I go. I've got a nice sharp dovetail saw, and I like to use it because it was my father's, and he passed away last year. So there you go. But all I do, I don't bother clamping or anything like that. I grab the saw, run down the slot. I bring the blade back until I feel the notch with the blade. So that way I know exactly where I need to be. And then basically I'm in a bit awkward position here because I'm trying not to knock my camera over. It's my tripod. Hello! Alright, so there we go. We just gently cut that back and forwards. You know, saw it. Fine tooth. There we go. That's done. Okay? And we do the same on the opposite side. And this is a really awkward angle for me to do it in because I wouldn't normally be doing it like this, obviously. Until you find the slot. And there again, back, same again we go. Oh, it's awkward now. I feel really cack-handed. But normally it's really easy. But the camera, because it's one of them sports cameras, it's got such a wide angle lens on them, and they tend to have to be so flipping close. So I feel I'm being kissed by it. No, don't do it. No. Anyway, there you go. Just scared myself. But probably you as well. Next step. So we've got two cuts. Alright, if you go too far with these cuts, when you knock this bit out, it's going to try and follow to the depth of the cut. So, yeah, what we look here is, you look at the direction of the grain. If we went from this direction, I'd actually tear more out than I would want to. So, because the grain is going that way, so I'll be hitting against the grain. So I'll be effectively digging in. So I'm going to go this way, alright? Alright, so just a few little taps, like so. That pops like that way, I don't overdo it. Right, so in this case we do everything from the left, which is a bit of a pain because obviously the camera's just there, and we just tap away. You can do this by hand, without a hammer really, to be fair. But I do like to use a hammer or a mallet because you got more control. You know, little short, sharp taps, you got more control. When you're pushing onto, a bit like having a baby really, you know. Well, you women out there, you must understand this. You start pushing and they go, shoo, it's out, it's done. You know, I don't you like complaining about really. Quite fair there. All my daughter from that. But so there we go. You just you clean it up. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it goes back a little bit, really, because you can. Well, it doesn't really matter. And then we have 45, 45, and a flat. And basically, it's not going to look that good at the minute because obviously I haven't done the other side in cut length. But as you can see, then that will drop in there. It needs a bit of TLC at the moment because it needs to be a bit deeper. But you do that when you're cutting these miters on here. You do it. This one obviously been pre-cut and it been cut quite enough. So that sit a lot lower in that little joint there. That sit a lot lower in there, and hence been much neater joint. At the moment, it's showing a gap, but I'm just doing it for the purpose of the video. And that'd be basically it. So effectively, you do that and you mimic that all the way along. It's quite easy to work out the lengths by doing it this way, because the length of the transom bar will be the distance between this little flat hair and this little flat hair on that moulding. So that's really easy to work out. It seems a really easy way of doing it. So then what we do is then, once we've got this cut to length and done on the opposing sides, obviously it'll be flat at that point. We'll drop these in, yeah. And all I do is then I use a bit of Cascamite glue, a couple of little clamps, squeeze it up so it's tight, and then I draw it at an angle with a with a 3 to 4 mil dowel at an angle straight through. Then clean it off with a sander. Takes no time at all, and I find it's a really effective way of doing it. And they stay in. That's what's important. they stay in. They don't just fall off in time. And you know, Mrs. Joe blogs there. She's doing a little bit of window cleaning and what have you, and she realises she hasn't just got a polish and rag in one hand and a squeegee. What she's got is a piece of wood, and it isn't kind of what she wanted. You know, she wants shiny windows, not broken windows. So yeah, so that's basically it, guys. You know, please, if you like the video, what have you, and these little ideas, you know, it's I know you might not necessarily need to put transom bars in, but the ideas that I've used here, you might be able to utilise in other areas of your woodwork, and that's the whole point, isn't it? And if I can help in any way, it'd be great. And you know, equally, you guys, if you guys and gals, to be politically correct, if you would like to share any knowledge that you've got, you know, please comment. You know, if you've got any requests or anything that you're having trouble with, you know, maybe I can help. You know, maybe I can't. You know, but I can only be honest, can't I? And do what I can do. I'm not going to say that everything I do is absolutely brilliant or necessarily the correct way of doing things, but it's what I do, and it seems to work for me, and I get the job done. So my customers seem to be happy, and you know, I enjoy my job really. You know, what more can you say? Really, at the end of the day, it's like I come to work to play with my toys. That's what it feels like sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. When you've got grumpy customers or customers are pestering because the job you're a bit late getting the job out. But so be it, you know, they just have to wait, don't you? Say the V, you know. Anyway, over and out from here, from my workshop here in France, and yep, till next time. See you later. Take care. Where's the button gone? Oh yeah, where's the button? I've got to find the button. Where's the button? What do I press? How do I turn this thing off? What do I do? What's this? Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, here we are. Yep. Oh, no, just press that. Oh, there you are.